We are live. Oh my gosh, I can't believe I pulled this off. So, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all shapes and sizes, welcome to Friday with Friends. This is not Will Ogmundson, my neighbor, pianist and composer, but this is Jessica Robinson, and she is just as good.
Better.
Well, yes. Well, I was, so I'm actually on my camcorder now, and Jessica's there. So there's going to be a little bit of this. This isn't in my studio down in the garage, because my laptop was lagging, and because of last minute cancellations and changes, I honestly could not deal. I think I would have thrown the laptop at the garage door if we'd done that. So Jessica, thanks so much for joining me on this show at the very, very last minute. Because
it's so much better than sitting through second grade social studies. So I appreciate the excuse.
So your kids in earshot?
Yeah, I've locked my office door. We're okay.
All right. So what I am going to do is I'm going to let everyone know where they can find you, because Jessica is a really good storyteller. Now, Jessica is not like myself. She's female. She has red hair, all that kind of stuff.
I have a much better accent.
Yeah, she does. She has a much better American accent than I do. And but she does personal narrative. And you do a lot of that with your show, Better Said Than Done, right?
Yes.
Tell me about that. Tell everyone about that, because it's an awesome show, and I've only been on it once so far.
Yes, so far I like that. We'll have you back. We'll have you back. Yeah, so Better Said Than Done. I started it 9 years ago, a little over 9 years now. It's funny, I was doing storytelling for another group in DC, and the only kind of storytelling, honestly, before I went to the National Storytelling Festival, which is where we met, the only kind of storytelling I really knew existed was personal storytelling. That was my whole world. Yeah. And then I went to the National Storytelling Festival. We were on Exchange Place together in 2018, and that's when I was like, oh, there's people doing other stuff.
Yeah, right.
So, yeah.
Do you enjoy folk and fairy tales?
So here's the thing. It's like people who don't like country music. I have always been someone who likes all genres of music, of movies, of storytelling, now that I know that they exist, if they're done well. So, there's personal storytellers who are terrible. There's folktale tellers who are terrible. And then there's people like yourself or, me, I'll just go ahead and say that, who are brilliant, we're amazing. Yeah. And it doesn't really matter what story you're telling. So
it's true. No, Jessica really is a phenomenal storyteller. And I was really impressed with your story at National Festival at the Exchange Place. It was really, really good. There were some good stories, but I thought I personally enjoyed yours an awful lot more than some of the other ones that were there.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a great. Everyone was great that night. Sorry.
Everyone was great. They were. I mean, Nestor came on stage and he did an incredible, powerful, moving story that people either were moved to tears or couldn't stand.
Yes, he went right before I did.
Yes, but which was hard. In some ways, it was really hard to follow, but also it was brilliant, because when you followed Nestor, you kind of like brought everybody back into the room, whereas other people, I think he put the audience in such a intense place. You kind of like opened up your arms, and it's like, we're gonna be okay, folks. And you talk about that. I had to follow Paul Strickland, who was like, comic comedian extraordinaire.
Punching
and
peas.
There was me telling this quiet little story. Dear. So how long has Better Said Than Done been going on for?
So about 9.5 years. So May of 2011 is when I started it. So
that's really cool.
And I actually started it. I was telling stories in DC, and I didn't want to. They were just a once a month on a Tuesday night. And if you don't know the area, driving into DC on a weeknight is just like, it takes like an hour and a half to get there and find parking. So I didn't want to have to keep doing that. And I actually started Better Said Than Done because I was on the board of a nonprofit and we were thinking of ways to raise money. And I'm like, I'll put on a storytelling show. So we put on a storytelling show and we raised money. And then we did that again. And then I was like, I know how to put on a storytelling show. So I decided to just start one. So
that's excellent. And so it's actually normally when it's not COVID time, it's actually in DC itself, or is it on the outskirts?
Well, normally, so I'm in Fairfax, which is outside of DC, and that's where the show is at a pub called the Old Shebeen. You would love it.
I bet. Sounds good.
It's very cozy. And then we had a second venue that we were supposed to start in DC in April, and of course we haven't been there. So that's the Draft House, which is in DC, and hopefully when this is all over, we will go back there. They've already reopened. But, with social distancing, there's 20 people in the audience. And it just seems like right now I'd rather stay virtual because we can get a bigger audience. And
right.
We're doing it already. So
that's great. So do you think you'll do a hybrid where you also do it online at the same time as being live at the show?
Yeah, well, I don't know that I want to do that regularly. But for example, we're doing the Women's Storytelling Festival again. So last year was our first year doing that. And we're going to host it again this March. And I'm thinking that we have the space. The city of Fairfax is our sponsor, and they give us this wonderful old, Revolutionary War style house that we can use. Nice. And so I think we'll do some live performances there just without an audience and then stream the rest. So
that's very cool.
Yeah.
That's excellent. That's excellent.
In theory, if it works, it'll be very cool.
That's always the deciding factor, right? I don't know when this is all going to end. One of our local schools, how have your schools been?
Completely virtual.
Yeah. We've been doing this hybrid in our area. And one of the schools, not the one in our school district, but one of the other schools has actually shut down completely and gone virtual. They were doing a 2 days on, I think it was 2 days on, or alternating days. Our school district is doing rolling 2 days on and 2 days off.
Okay.
Which is, kind of a pain in the neck, but at least the kids are getting to see each other and hang out with each other safely, socially distanced, I hasten to add. And they're all in the same spot and in the same classroom, and it's the teachers who are moving around.
Yeah. Our school talked about doing that, and then the numbers were going up over the summer. In our area was one of the hardest hit. It's, things are changing across the country as the areas that shut down more, it seems like they're doing better. And then the areas that didn't shut down now are seeing more cases. So, but we're doing okay at the moment. But we're all virtual. So
yeah, I've seen some of your posts regarding going virtual or not, doing in-classroom stuff.
Yeah, they changed their mind. They made us decide about if we wanted to send our kids back or not. And then they're like, all right, we'll send our kids back 2 days a week. And then they're like, never mind. So. Yeah, I'm drinking coffee.
I've had a couple of cups of tea already, and I didn't have time to make a cup of coffee for that. I felt that I needed one after everything was cancelled. So, have you met Mo yet?
Yeah, Mo Reynolds. Oh, hi. Oh, yeah, I could see her on the chat.
She's saying hi. Jane's also saying hi. Oh,
hi, Jane.
Crow is also saying hi.
Hi, Crow.
Karen. See, we're going to get. I think we're going to get a very different audience. Karen Langford Chase. She's brilliant. She's a good friend of mine.
Hi, Vaya.
So Vaya's excellent as well. I mean, I've not met her, but I keep looking up. There's no camera on my monitor. So,
I'm reading all the comments. It's nice.
I know. I love hanging out at the Draft House. Oh, so she's one of your locals then?
She's in Virginia. Yeah.
Okay.
Local is such a weird term. And Virginia is a very big state, but she's close.
Okay. Well, is it really a huge state? I guess it is, isn't it? Yes, it is.
I mean,
yeah. Sorry, I had to picture it in my mind then, because is it the one underneath Tennessee? Is that right? Showing my ignorance.
Virginia?
There. Yeah.
Where'd you grow up? You don't know the states?
Let me
It's
look it up.
it's Delaware and Maryland are above us. So
Okay. All right.
but
I'm gonna.
anyway,
I'll
we're
have a look
bigger
later.
than New Hampshire.
Rachel Hedman's here. Yay! She's usually a regular.
Hi, Rachel.
Yeah, she's excellent. You've worked with her, right?
Yes, yeah.
Yeah,
And I'm
yeah.
going to be picking her brain before we have the Women's Storytelling Festival that I was just telling you about. So they've been Story Crossroads has, picked up the ball and run with it. So.
Oh yeah, they have. They're amazing. They're a really good organization. In fact, if you want to do a workshop of some sort, they're looking for people to do workshops. Miss Jessica.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I'll let Rachel know.
You should. You should. No, I know. I'm gonna have to. You're on the coastline. Now I really need to. Yeah, Virginia Beach, of course. Of course. Yes. Now I need to get the map out, but I'll do that one at the end of the show.
It's
been a long time since I studied maps.
We're near DC. DC is the weirdest. Well, it's we're trying to get representation in DC, but DC is like this, and then Maryland is like this,
right,
and
okay.
Virginia is like this.
So, okay, all right.
And we're over here.
Okay.
You got it?
Yes, I got it. I got it now. I got it now. I was looking at you when I was looking this way, not at the camera. The camera's to one side now. So yeah, that's why I've got the camcorder here, because my laptop has a thing on it, which I normally use down there, but it was going so slow. I was like, just grab the camera, and I got it all figured out now, so I can do this, which is very exciting. Yeah. So you're normally a videographer, right?
Yeah, in the before times more so than these days, but yes.
Oh yeah, I mean that's something for everybody, right?
That's how I make money. Yeah. More so than the millions I get paid as a storyteller, but.
I always love it. I'm pretty sure this is Bill Harley saying, but what's the difference between family-sized pizza and a storyteller?
What?
A family-sized pizza can feed a family of 4.
I was trying to figure it out. That's good. Yeah.
It is good. I'm pretty sure that's a Bill Harley one. Somebody told it to me, and I kind of roll with it, and I believe it's Bill Harley. But yeah. So how are you doing during this coronavirus time? What's going on in your life? What are you doing? Are you escaping at all?
Inside my head.
Well,
you've seen my posts. I've been reading a lot, and that's good. And we've already watched everything on Netflix. And a friend actually gifted us the Disney Plus, and we've watched everything on there. So
yeah, I know. I wonder about Disney Plus and if it's worth that monthly fee, because they're not, I mean, I guess it's not next month. It's November until Mandalorian starts back up. October 31st.
I'm going to be controversial here and say I didn't really care for Mandalorian.
That's all right. Everyone has different. Yeah. I mean, you probably like Jane Eyre and,
Yeah, I liked the original Star Wars and I liked Rogue One. But nothing else.
I tend to agree with that. I kind of enjoyed Solo because it was a fun backstory. Rogue One was excellent. That's right up there with number 4 as far as I'm concerned. Or number 1.
Or number 5.
Number 5. No,
Empire.
Empire. No, I was thinking The New Hope. That's my favorite. Right. The first one, that was pretty good. New Hope was pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the first 3 movies that they made were really good.
No, you're right, number 4, but number 5 is Empire Strikes Back. That's the one that most people agree is the best. So.
Okay. No, I'm just really.
Okay, if you think number 4 is better, that's okay.
It is. We all like our different things. Rachel Hedman was saying BC before Corona. Yes. Yes. Oh, I've missed a few before times. Yeah, sounds dinosaurish. It is kind of dinosaurish, but it's not. It's coronavirus-ish. Which, Disney Plus is good, but there's a point that you're going to be. We watched the whole Marvel universe on it, and the ones that weren't yet on Disney Plus, we Netflixed, so we got to see all of them, and we actually did them in chronological order or storyline order, which was fun.
Yeah.
But we kind of run out now. Oh, Rachel Hedman says episode 5 is the best. Oh my gosh. I'm going to have to watch it again.
Yeah, yeah, and we watched. I got to see Hamilton, which I saw
Yes.
it at the Kennedy Center, and it was great there. And there's good things about it. I like the Pixar movies better anyway, so we've gotten to watch
Yeah.
all the Pixar movies. And
Yeah. That's so
have
good.
you? Is your daughter into Descendants, or is she too old? Descendants and
She's
zombies and those
she's
Disney
15.
musicals.
Yeah. She didn't really like books. She read the first one.
Because
But
all those musicals are on Disney Plus too.
yes, she does like musicals, that's for sure. And
Okay.
actually, she was so excited when Hamilton came out on Disney Plus. That
Yeah.
was just insane for her. And
My
she watched it 3 times. And when the first time she watched it, she was up at Sarah, my wife's family camp, and she came back, Daddy, you gotta watch Hamilton. You gotta watch Hamilton. I was like, all right. That was the first thing we did with that night. That night, sit down and watch Hamilton. It was really good.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it a lot. So you've done Disney Plus, you've done Netflix.
It's not all,
Reading up.
so we had Better So Than Done, to bring it back to storytelling. We had 3 shows a month starting in April.
Uh-huh.
So that kept me really busy. And then I've gone down to 2 shows a month, but then I've also been, so that's Better Said Than Done. And then I've been performing with Sheila Arnold a lot. And then last night I was on a show for the Storytelling Association of California. And then I've gone on 7 by 7 by 7 and 6 Feet Apart productions. So I've been trying to make the rounds in other shows, as well as my own. So that's been keeping me really busy. It's not been buying that pizza for a family of 4, but it's been keeping me really, really busy.
I feel the same way. I totally feel the same way. It's been it's doing the rounds on other people's shows I think is really good, because it gets us in front of a completely different audience, which is nice, and spreads our name around a little bit.
Well, you and I have talked a little bit about that too, just the business of storytelling, and it's interesting how it's interesting that many shows don't pay, and I think that worked better in the before times, because you just go to one or so every now and then just to do it for something different. But now it seems like there's so many shows out there, and many of them are free, many of them don't pay. So then there's this, the market is so diluted. It's hard for people trying to actually make money doing storytelling.
Right. But you are doing some some of your film videography. You're doing some of that now, right? So you're not like up a gum tree, right? Without a
well, so my husband has a job. That's why we're alive today.
What does he do? I can't remember.
What
does he do? I can't remember.
He's a graphic artist. So he works for a government contractor like everyone else in this area, and he does all of their websites and logos and event pages and logo designs. I don't know. He does all that stuff. Some of he's got security clearance, so I don't know all of what he does, but yeah, some sneaky graphic art stuff, but yeah, no. So I used to do, on average, about 3 video shoots a week, and since March, I've done 5. So total.
Oh, that's not good.
Yeah.
That's
so it's
like, that's like me. Well, I've had a few more than that, but we've probably
with photo shoots or with storytelling.
No storytelling. No, I've got. Well, I thought I had 3 photo shoots, but it turned into 2 senior shots, which is kind of fun, because the parents want the up against the tree and the black lab in the photo, and I'm kind of like, let's go to an industrial site where there are bricks and old machinery that's kicking around, because that's that's different. Trying to make kids see that you don't have to have your senior photograph look like everybody else's. We can do something a little different.
Well,
so
you do. I mean, you do amazing stuff for yourself too. I mean, your photos that you use to promote yourself are so cool. You could probably market that to other storytellers, actually, if you haven't already.
Well, yeah, I mean, Antonio, I did some shots with Antonio Hosha, and
Yeah, no, those are nice. I saw those. Yeah.
yeah, that was fun because he came to stay. He was spending a night here, and I was like, while you're here, let's do some shots because I'd love to do some pictures of you, just for
Yeah.
my own self gratification and wanting to photograph people and stuff.
Just take that out of context for a second. He was
That's not.
sleeping over, and I'm like, I want to do some photos of you.
Well, he had the inflatable bed in the spare room, so. And yeah, let's not take that out of context. So, and he said, oh yeah, there's this great. So I did some shots that I wanted to do. And he said, I always wanted to do these shots where I'm exactly the same and doing all these different faces. And that's what we did. And it was a lot of fun. And, my gratification shot was done. So I was happy and he was happy. So everything worked out really, really well.
I don't know Aspen Winds. Rachel is commenting about that, but
right now there with you, Jessica, between March 11.
Yeah.
Says, yeah, same here, Via. Yeah, I normally I would have done like over the summer, probably close to between 50 and 60 gigs, and I had 15. And some of those were in person, and the other ones were, virtual, which is
How are you? Are you wearing a shield, or what's going on in your area?
So, I mean, we're in New Hampshire, so the southern New Hampshire is a much higher population. Where I am, our town is 4,000 people, and a lot of towns in New Hampshire are like that and small. There's a few bigger ones. Lebanon's bigger, which is up north a little bit. But most of the higher population places are down south, and I went down there once, and they were very well sorted out. I've been telling people the front row needs to be 25 feet away from me for their safety, right? Because singers, they project.
You expectorate a lot.
I do, and I sweat a lot too. But what I heard was, because I was talking to Pat Spalding, or I noticed a post that Pat Spalding had put up. I don't know, I can't remember. Maybe it wasn't Pat, but anyway, she's on my mind this morning because I was going to get in touch with her. But they were saying that the water droplets from your mouth when you sing travel 25 feet, and so I was like, well, if I'm shouting, people want to be at least 25 feet away, right? Because if the bad guys come in, it's like, I don't want to spit on people in the front audience. I mean, it has been known to happen. When I've been in a cramped space and there's kids right in front of me, and this kid's like, oh, that's disgusting. It's called an intimate performance, folks. So it's 25 feet away, and they actually put a caution tape up, and then they had people 15 feet back from that. So the first row of that particular audience was 35 feet away. And then each family would there was a stake in the ground with their name on it. It was pre-booking only. You can't just show up. And so all these stakes were apart, and each stake was probably, I would guess 25 feet apart there as well, so that they could spread out and they'd still be 10 feet away from their next door neighbor on the outdoors. All of them have been outdoors apart from two.
Yeah.
And the one was hardly anybody showed up for that. And they were very much spaced out. I was up on the stage, and I had to be at the back of the stage, and the front row was not open because of the 25 feet. And then the other one that I was indoors, it was a camp, and so all these kids were in their pods, and they were all very much separated. But that was at the very, very beginning, and it's been all right actually. So we've kept the 25 foot away. The first one that I did, these little kids came running up to me and like, oh, it's so good, and I was kind of like that, and I felt, I kept them at arm's distance, and I had my mask on, but like when I got home, I basically stripped at the door down to my undies and dumped all my clothes in the wash, took a shower, and got dressed because, I just didn't want to bring anything home to my family.
Yeah.
And I think about these emergency people, people on the front line who have to deal with it all the time. It's got to be so stressful. I can't even imagine what their lives are like, even now, as it's, not every single bed filled kind of thing.
Yeah.
So that was my, I was just
information about how much an orchestra can blow forth from instruments.
I like that. They can. Oh, so that, hang on. So what I'll do is do I want to put that in the chat? I think that's already in the chat up there. Yeah, that's interesting. That's interesting. So they've had their second concert with a larger distance of telefront row than the first one. That's interesting. Yeah, I'll look at that later, Rachel. That's really good. So how are your kids doing with COVID?
You know, it's just life now. It took a long time. I think we've sort of adjusted to just. It feels like we're on an island, you know, like we're the Swiss Family Robinson. Like we're just in this together, and
That's
there's
funny.
no one else around
I like
us.
that.
So yeah. That movie. I haven't read the book, but that movie, I love that movie. It is so sexist. I don't know if you've seen it recently. Like my daughter loves it, and I'm like, but don't be like the girls in that movie. They all just scream the whole time because everything is terrible. What, you look concerned?
Well, I was wondering what movie you're talking about.
Oh, the Swiss Family Robinson.
Oh, well, yeah, a lot of them. Yes. Well, I mean, A, the book was written in that time.
Yeah.
And B, you know, the movie was, yeah.
Anyway, but yes, we're very. So my son, you know, my son is 4, and he is having a harder time than my daughter, I think, because he hasn't been back to preschool. And in fact, his preschool reopened, but we chose not to send him back, and they just had to close down because someone there tested positive. So, you know, but every single day.
Send him back when that happened.
Yeah, but every single day he says he misses his teacher, or he misses his best friends, and you know, he hasn't hugged anyone outside of our family for 6 months. So it's hard for a 4-year-old. And yes, Jane, it's a great treehouse. My daughter wants that treehouse.
Well, we have been subscribed to things like Smithsonian and National Geographic, and a few years ago there was this whole article that was very in-depth, and the main article was all about tree houses, and it was just phenomenal what some of these tree houses look like. You know, and the way that they're set up, they're like real homes up in the woods, you know, 80, 100, 120 feet up in the sky on some of these redwoods, some of these tree houses, and they're amazing. Have you ever seen pictures of those places?
Yeah, there's a whole TV show about making tree houses. I can't remember what it's called, but it's
too. Yeah.
And he does. I mean, those tree houses are nicer than my house.
Some of them. Right?
Yeah. My daughter has been asking for a tree house for about 2 years now. So last year I bought my husband how to make your own tree house.
Is it you got the tools to make one as well? Because there are some serious tools that you need to make those kinds of things.
Yeah, well, I mean, so you have to. So actually, my daughter loves dinosaurs, so we love this show called Dino Dana. If you have kids that love dinosaurs, it's I think it's on Prime, but it's a show out of Canada, and it's just all about dinosaurs. And the little girl has a treehouse, and it's like 2 feet or 3 feet off the ground, and that I think would be probably a safer way of making a treehouse for your kids. But
yeah, we made we didn't really have a treehouse. We had more of a platform, which is a lot of fun because you had to. This place we basically had a ladder that went up. And then you had to cross this narrow beam, and there's no like handbars or anything. So when the kids were younger, they would crawl over it. And then there was this big old platform that was nestled in the trees, and it was kind of a cool place to hang out.
Yeah.
Except when the ticks were visiting.
Yeah. Yeah, and Rachel is asking about the show. I think it's called like Extreme Tree Houses or something like that. It's on one of those channels that shows all the shows about making houses and trading houses and
HD, whatever it is, like something like that. It's not the shopping channel.
and yes, we will come visit you, Rachel, and we'll go see all the dinosaur fossils. That would be great.
Yeah, dinosaurs are amazing. It's pretty. Treehouse Masters.
Oh, there you go. Treehouse Masters.
Yeah, I was just looking.
Masters.
Treehouse Masters.
There you go. Sorry, I got thrown at the beginning by your garage. How do you say it? Garage?
Well, I say garage or garage, depending on,
Garage. Yeah.
you know, yeah. The garage is kind of, you know, lower class. And,
Oh.
well, yeah. So, I used to, as a kid, I used to use garage all the time. And my mother would correct me, it's garage. So, okay. I'm going to go back to the garage. The garage just comes out a lot easier sometimes than garage. So you have a studio too, Miss Fancy Pants. You have a nicer studio than mine, I bet.
I don't have a studio.
Oh, you don't?
No, this is a curtain in my office / spare bedroom. I won't show you what's behind it, but there is a queen size bed that is piled with papers and boxes. So yeah.
Most of your work is location shooting then?
Yes. Yeah. And I had an office in the beginning because I felt like I needed to have an office, but then no one would come and use it. I was always going, and I'm like, I'm paying whatever it was, $2,000 a month or whatever for space that no one is ever coming to. So yeah, I gave that up.
That office space was more than our mortgage.
Yeah, Northern Virginia, man, it's expensive here. I travel for work sometimes, and I remember I was in Durham. This was like 5 years ago, and the guy was showing me around the neighborhood, and he was showing me this house, and he's like, "Oh, this is where the expensive houses are," and there were these like brick mansions, and he's like, "Yeah, that one's like 200,000," and I'm like, "What?" Like, you can't buy a bungalow in Northern Virginia for that, but like it was this mansion, and I'm like, I'm moving to North Carolina, man. So,
yeah, right.
This area is one of the most expensive. It's like San Francisco pricing. So
really, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, when we lived in Boston, it was very similar for us. When we were looking for somewhere to live, we could either afford to buy a house in a neighborhood that we liked, but you could look through the cracks in the walls.
Yeah.
And, you'd have to share the house with rats and other critters that came in, or we were so far out of Boston. I mean, that's how we ended up in this area. Because we were looking so far out of Boston for a house that we could afford in an area that we wanted to live. And I kind of like jokingly said to my wife, well, if we're moving this far out, we might as well go and live in Vermont. And that look went over her face, and I was just like, oh, no. Here we go. Big move time.
Yeah.
And we ended up, finding new jobs and moving out to New Hampshire, as it turned out, because we couldn't find anywhere in Vermont that we could afford to live and have a job and all that kind of stuff. But yeah. So what did you grow up in Virginia? Are you a native Virginian?
I'm from New Jersey. Sorry, I'm just reading what Via was writing. Yes. Actually, we're outside of Northern Virginia.
I don't like this difference because I can't.
Yeah. So Via is saying how expensive things are in this area, and yes, they are. No, I grew up in New Jersey.
That makes a lot of sense. Actually, knowing
what?
You,
oh,
you're a New Jersey girl. That makes that.
Yes, you've come to realize that I am very rarely serious. I'm always sarcastic. I actually do think people from New Jersey are very funny, even if you don't agree.
No, I do. It's
it's kind of the modus operandi of New Jersy. Just never.
I totally get it. So Via left Springfield. So is Via from Springfield, Mass then? Because you know why Matt Goring had Springfield on his for where the Simpsons lived?
Yeah.
Yeah, right. So when you say you left Springfield in 1986, it doesn't help us very much, Via. You got to tell us.
Well, we were talking about Virginia, so I assume she's referring to Springfield, Virginia, which is right around the corner from me. But there's there's like a Springfield in every state, I think.
I think there is at least one. I know that there's one here in New Hampshire, there's one in Vermont, and there's one in Massachusetts, and they're all very close together, so it makes it even more. Yeah, there's Springfield, Virginia.
I got you, Via. I knew what you're saying.
Would Via go to some of your shows then?
What?
Did Via go to some of your shows when they were in person?
I don't know. Yeah, I think she came to one show while we were in person. But we've gotten to know each other a little bit better since we've been online. So she's come to some of our swaps that we've been having. So.
Oh, that's nice.
Yeah.
That's very cool. What else can we talk about? What book? I mean, you gave a whole list of books. Which is your favorite book that you read recently? Because that was a
Well,
massive.
I've recently finished 2 trilogies, and I do sometimes I like trilogies, sometimes I don't. But I finished the City of Copper series, the Devabad series. It's about genies. That
Oh,
was a
really?
lot of fun. So it's a trilogy, and it's really like it's just fun. It's just there's genies and there's jinn and there's ifrits, and it's just a fun trilogy. And then I finished the Bringing Up the Bodies series by Hilary Mantel about Henry VIII and Thomas Cromwell. So
Yeah, that was a good time.
yeah, did you read that trilogy?
No, I haven't read either of those. But I know that the whole Cromwell, the history of Cromwell was a very exciting time in England and Britain.
I love Henry VIII stories, though. I mean, I think it's a
Yeah.
really fascinating time in history.
Oh, it
And
totally was.
what?
It totally was. Yeah.
Yeah. And Henry VIII changed the world basically because he wanted to get with Anne Boleyn. So
I know. I mean, in so many different ways as well, not just with religion, but like, the way that things were run, and there were a lot of changes going on.
yeah, no, yeah, he set the stage for modern Europe.
Right. But he drove the codpiece out, which I think was a shame. Have you ever looked at pictures of him? And like when he was in his youth, the codpiece was like fairly small, and as he got older, it got bigger and bigger and bigger.
Oh, yeah. No, I didn't. That wasn't in the books.
No, it was.
Yeah,
the cod pieces. Yeah, they got. Sorry, Rachel. We'll stop. I promise, we'll stop. I got into trouble. People who wear glasses are 2% smarter than people who don't wear glasses. Shh, don't tell those 2020 people that. They get all snarky. I don't know. We just look more intelligent. It doesn't mean that we are. It's like people say that, oh, you've got a British accent, you sound more intelligent. It's like, yeah, that's all it is. I sound more intelligent. Put me in a room with Brits and not really.
There is a show that I will recommend on Netflix called 100 Humans, and they do all these fun studies. And they have 100 humans, and they divide them up into groups, and they study them. And they had a woman come in to 3 different groups and give the same presentation, and she did one in a typical American accent, she did one in a British accent, and she did one in a Southern accent. And then they had the audience rate her, and they all thought she was smarter when she had a British accent.
Not funny.
So it's true. We really do think you guys are smarter. I don't know why. We won the war, man.
I know. You did. Wow. We could debate that now.
England has its own problems, but
yeah, we do. I always think of Boris as the illegitimate son of Trump.
yeah, no, they are made for each other.
Yeah, they are. So what's on your plate for today? What are you up to today?
I am going to promote the show that we have tomorrow. So tomorrow we have
let me help you do that.
Rutherford, who is just one of my all-time favorite. Oh, Anne. You're in the TBD thing with her. She's just lovely. She's in our show tomorrow, along with Norm Brecky and Bill Lepp, who you might have heard of.
Bill Lepp and Rutherford.
He's an up-and-coming storyteller. People will hear his name one day. Laura Sims. So anyway, so today I'm spending the day letting people know about the show tomorrow. So and Ed Stivender is going to be in it, so that should be fun.
Now I gotta change. Hang on, and Ed's going to be in there as well.
Yeah. Ed. And Cheddar Galloway. Sorry, I see. Normally it's in alphabetical order, and I can name everyone.
All right. And how do you spell Chad's last name?
I think just like it sounds, Galloway. Galloway.
All right, Chad Galloway, and this is the All Better Said Than Done, right?
Yes.
So,
yeah.
I think I have. Do I have that? Oh,
you had you had it up there.
So this is who's going to be performing. This is tomorrow night. Is that right? I didn't
Yeah,
misspell it.
Bill only has one L in his first name, and
Gosh, I
Ed
know.
is
Why did I do that?
Divender instead of Stevender.
Hang on. Oh, I did. Yeah, that's just a typo on both cases. I know that Bill only has one L because there we go. So that has one L now. And then better said than done. You can get your tickets right here. Is that right? Or is it Eventbrite now?
No, it's better said than done. The storyteller is my personal page, but you can, if you click on the storytelling shows page, you can get to the tickets. It's fine. And it's Cheddar. Yes, thank you, Rachel. Cheddar, not Chad. Or whatever you called him.
I was trying to type
that's
quickly. I'm sorry.
That's okay. It's all right.
Better said than done.com. That's the show tomorrow,
yes.
which starts at what time?
8 p.m. Eastern. So I've been doing EDT. I'm feeling pretty confident in the EDT, and I just know that one of these days we're going to fall back, and then I think it's not going to be EDT anymore. So I've just started saying Eastern so I can cover my butt.
Yeah, I know, because what is it, a couple of weeks away, isn't it? Something like that.
Yeah, I got in a big. Do you know Miriam Nadell? She's a great storyteller. I don't know if you've worked with her, but she and I got in a big public debate about, because I was using EST and she was like, stop using EST, it's inaccurate, and I'm like, who cares? And then she told me why it's very important to care. So yeah,
it is important. Yeah, because like British summertime and British standard time, except I can't remember. GMT, Greenwich Mean Time, is 0 o'clock, as it were, and everything else is based off of that. But Greenwich Mean Time is not British summertime because of it's for the same reason as EDT and EST.
Yeah, we should all just go back to not changing the clocks. It's so weird.
Yeah, I know. I don't see any point in it at all. It seems redundant to me.
Yeah, so there's a thing that I post on Facebook probably every year around this time, which is John Oliver did a "Why Is This Still a Thing?"
about really? I love John
changing
Oliver.
the clocks back, and he interviewed all these people, and he was like, what is this about? And everyone's like, oh, it's about the farmers. It's about the farmers. And then he went back, and it turns out it's not really about the farmers.
It's not. I discovered that because the farmers get up. Their clock is the sun.
Yeah.
They get up when they need to get up. It doesn't matter what time it is.
Yeah.
It's for some other complete reason now. And it's bizarre.
Yeah.
Can you remember what it is? I can't.
I think it was about saving electricity or something like that.
I think you're right.
Yeah. Because it's fairly recent. It was back in the 60s or 70s, and it was about saving electricity or something during a shortage. But totally not anything we need anymore, because people are on their computers and using electricity all day and all night. So.
Oh my gosh, yeah, right. Yeah, the first time I went into a server room, I was blown away, because there was all these AC conditioners in there, and I was like, "Why is it so cold in here?" And it's because these things overheat if they get too hot.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea, but yeah, they run all day and night, and some of these businesses have huge rooms just filled with server after server.
Warehouses.
Yeah, some of them indeed. So what else do you want to talk about? We can talk about anything you want. Talk about your favorite food. What do you like to eat? This is a stupid conversation.
Oh, there's what I like and what's good for me. So
Oh yeah, we all have that.
Yeah. I like carbohydrates, but I should be eating salad.
Yes.
Nothing but. But Friday is movie night, so we have popcorn on Friday night, and that's always fun.
You do? Yeah.
Yeah.
My wife has a really good recipe, but it's a secret recipe, so I can't tell you for popcorn. I don't like popcorn except when it's done with that secret recipe. I'm not a popcorn fan. That was a huge culture shock actually for me, going to the movies, because in England, I mean, they have a candy counter, but they have ice cream. And when I was young and growing up, there would be the ice cream lady, and it'd be kind of like the cigarette girls with the tray. They'd have this tray, and they'd walk to up in the balcony. There'd be two women that would walk down, or guys that would walk down, and have the tray.
When you were growing up in the 1940s?
Yes, it was exactly that. Actually, it was the 30s when I started.
Yeah.
But yeah. And we go and get ice cream, and then when I came over here, it's like I'm it's the intermission part. It's like, well, where'd you get the ice cream from? People are looking at me like, what ice cream? It's like, don't you get ice cream at the theater? And they're like, no, you get popcorn. I'm like, what? Why popcorn? Why ice cream? I was like, yeah, that's right.
Well, someone finally like caught on, because now there's all these places where you can order dinner and drinks, and you
Yeah.
can it's like going, dinner and a movie all in one place. So
Right. Well, we used to live out in Portland, Oregon, and the McMiniman brothers, I think they were probably among the first to do that. And they would charge you, I think it was $1 for the movie, but you get pizza and beer. And
yeah.
that's where they made all their money. And, it was great because they took over a lot of these old buildings, and they would convert them into, repurpose them basically. So they saved a lot of buildings that might have been demolished or just, turned into some office blocks and stuff. And so you could go and see all these old run movies, like the original 1960s Batman movie if you wanted to. And we saw The Shining on the big screen. We saw the Wizard of Oz.
When it came out originally?
Yeah, well, when it came out originally, but then my wife and I went to see it when we were in Portland, Oregon, and it's in this huge theater on the big screen, right? And we're sitting up in the balcony. I wish I could remember the name of the place. But halfway through the movie, in the bright scenes, you can see all these little puffs of smoke popping up everywhere as people were enjoying themselves watching The Wizard of Oz.
I was trying to figure out if something was on fire. Okay, yeah.
No, nothing was on. Well, nothing was on fire. People's imaginations maybe became a little bit more lucid.
Yeah. I don't know if I'd want to do that with that movie. I mean, I wouldn't.
Yeah,
anyway,
I would. Yeah,
that
right.
movie's creepy, man.
Yeah.
We have a couple questions.
Oh, we do? Hang on, I've got to go with comments. Oh, my.
Rachel wants us to talk about the next step in virtual storytelling, and Tony wants to talk about how art helps in a pandemic.
All right, hang on. I want to go back up a bit. There's a test in. Hang on, type it. All right, I'll just take the names down then. Jeez, people are giving me a hard time. I was typing it quickly.
Yeah, Brecky is spelled with a C, but
I did put a C in there. That's another typo. CKE. I know how to spell that. Hang on. So what? Yeah, and both studied piano with Robert. Oh. Yeah. So those of you that joined late, Will pulled out. I didn't get a message until this morning, like half an hour before the show. But he notified me in a method that I don't check very well. And so Will Ogmundson is not going to be here today. We've got Jessica instead, which is just as much fun, if not more so. And Pete, wherever two people get together, that's true. I can make it 1 hour difference. Yes, right? So that's why it's important. Drive-in movies. That's what we should be doing. So there's a lot of bands are doing that, actually. They're doing the drive-in thing, right? That people are parking their cars, which is weird. I saw Steve Harley, who's was massive in the 70s, and he was doing a drive-in. And I was looking at the cars in the background of this somebody was on the side of the stage doing this, handheld film stuff. And I was looking at the cars to see if they're like flashing their lights for applause, but I don't think they were, because it was England. People don't do that in England. So let's talk of the next step in virtual storytelling or phasing into live story and plans there. All right, what have you got going on there for that?
Yeah, so I've been debating this, and Rachel, I don't know if you heard this earlier, but we're talking about what to do with the Women's Storytelling Festival, which is March 19th and 20th, I believe. It's that Friday and Saturday of 2021, and I'm pretty sure we're going to have to be at least partway virtual, if not entirely virtual. And then I was talking to Scott Whitehair, who's a producer, I think in Chicago, and about just being virtual versus live, and they've managed to be live a little bit because they're outside. But then he was talking about how they'll probably, in December and January in Chicago, probably go virtual again for a little while. So I'm thinking we will probably stay virtual at least through January and February, and then we'll see. But I'm guessing probably longer than that. It just, it's hard to know.
Right. Yeah, I know that when I spoke with Donna Washington, probably nearer the beginning, it must have been like April or May, maybe. And
I saw that one. That was good.
Yeah. She said she's not doing anything until January. You know, back then she cancelled every in-person thing, and she's not going to go back and you know, and I'm sure she's going to be reconsidering that as, you know, things change. For me, I mean, you know, like I said earlier, I'm in New Hampshire, where and Vermont, and the towns are smaller. You know, people come up for going skiing, but they stay in their lodges. They don't tend to go out much, maybe to restaurants and stuff, which we don't as a family that much. So there might be some in-person stuff, but I'm going to try and stay with more virtual. And I think at some point, I don't know really. I mean, I've got a lot of thoughts going through my mind. One of the things is, you know, starting up my Wednesday stories thing for little kids. But, you know, these things, you know, to host these things, it costs a lot of money, because all these different platforms, you know, besides the internet, you know, you're looking at, for StreamYard, which I use right now, it's $20 a month, right? And then you got places to store videos, which is like Vimeo. That's another like $20 a month. That's $40 a month for those that are good at math like me. And you know, right. And then there's all these other programs that you're buying to make sure that you can edit the stuff well, and put it out there. It's not cheap, and to offer these things for free, I mean, which is fine. I don't mind doing it, but it's you know, you got to prioritize. I got to make a living because, yeah, I need you know, like everybody else, I need to make a living.
Yeah, and that's what I think Donna has been posting all these things about, you know, the virtual world and that kind of stuff on her blog.
Right.
And she talked about marketing and what she's done, and I think she's been very smart, but it's also her market is that she's been marketing to schools and libraries and places she already had, you know, inroads to.
Right.
And kind of like what I was saying earlier, there's so many shows out there that are free, that in a way it devalues what we're doing, and then people don't want to pay for it, and they don't expect to pay for it. So there's you got to find, and I don't know what the solution is, but I think one, like getting paying gigs and having the libraries and the schools and those guys do the you know, pay you and then they deal with the audience, or, you know, going on programs where the programs pay.
Right. Yeah, I've got a gig coming up which is going to be virtual, and it's they weren't going to do anything. They just shut everything down, and it was a library, and so they're going to have me now, and we're going to do a Zoom meeting kind of thing. But you know, if you know, I've had some people say, well, do you have a Zoom account? And it's like, yeah, I have a free one, because that's another $20 a month, you know. And you know, what other platforms do you want me to pay for on a monthly basis? And it's like, you got to have the work to be able to pay for that. But anyway, so Tony asked, I think this is a really good question. How does art help in the pandemic? I mean, this is a very valid point. I think it really helps a lot, because I think there are so many distractions right now, because we are online so much, because the kids are online at home. We're trying to help them with their homework. We're trying to, you know, help them with their mental health as well, because you know, they're getting burnt out. We're trying to, and I think that art is a way that we can relieve all of that. It's a way that we can, you know, in some cases we can look deeper at ourselves through art. We can also, you know, entertain each other with art, and gain levity, which I think is much needed these days, way more than ever, I think. I don't know. What do you think, Jessica?
Yeah, no, I agree with all that. I mean, I think it depends. Art is such a broad term.
Yeah.
But you know, the art of storytelling, I will address, because I know that one better than the others. I think that it provides a lot of connectivity. You know, it's a connection model. That's what storytelling is about. Whether you're doing folk tales or personal tales, you're connecting with your audience, even if it is through Zoom and through a computer. And then also, I think it helps with the mental health aspect, at least for adults and kids, depending on, you know, who's watching, because we need that right now. We need to feel like there are other people out there, you know, who we can connect with, whether it's through understanding what they're saying in their stories, or just feeling like there's another human presence in our lives.
But I mean, I'm just ruminating. I'm not just staring aimlessly out of the window. Um, yeah, but the whole in-person thing. I mean, there's, you know, like you said, there's all these different art forms. You know, whether it's painting, videos, you know, watching TV. There's, you know, whether it's art, theater, art films, or whatever, right? Film noir. But with storytelling, it's that one-on-one, right? You know, you're connecting with the audience, and a lot of the story, you know, I don't know if it, you know, I don't do personal narrative like you do, but for me, when the story can take a big change in how you're presenting it with a folk tale, because you can take it in different ways, and you can add things and you can take things out depending on the audience. And, you know, if you can feel it and you can sense it, and you can also see it when you've got all these faces in front of you. But when you're looking at a camera and you're not looking at the audience, right, you can't tell what the audience is feeling. You can't tell how they're reacting to the stories, and you can't change on the fly. You know, that's how I feel about it. I mean, what about you on that?
Yeah, I mean, so you can't see the audience usually in these. There are some storytelling shows that are doing a meeting format where they're allowing you to see the audience. So that's the
You're not
exception.
looking at, you're usually looking at the camera, right?
I am, but so for example, like Bill Lepp was on our show before, and
Right.
at the end of the program, he not only incorporated all the stories, you know, as he does, like a little bits of all the stories that were
Mhm.
told before he went, but he was also responding to stuff that was coming up in the chat. Like I can't do that. I feel like I have to stare into the camera and just ignore
Right.
everything else around me to get through it. But some people are good at that. But I think that just like when you're going into a school or when you're going into a venue, you have some idea of who's going to be there. So you have
Right.
some idea of who the audience is and who you're talking to. Um, and then again, I mean, the chat is not, it's not the same as having people clap for you and seeing
Right.
their faces, but you do get to see that response. Yes, exactly. So you get a response. It's not the same, but it's there.
Yeah. Yeah. I need to see a few more of Bill's shows and watch him more closely. And maybe I'll come
Well,
to better stead
he's
than
our
done
closer
tomorrow.
tomorrow night.
And most of the money goes to the storytellers, right? Is that right?
Yes, yeah. So
Yeah.
I just take one cut as the producer and split it evenly. So
Because you have your cost to cover as well as the producer. Right.
yeah.
Right. And that's the same as with Rachel Hedman. They, with Story Crossroads, they take a small cut and they give the rest to the storyteller, which is awesome. Thank you so much.
Well, yeah. I'm doing
Yeah.
what I can. So
Well, it's the same. You know, thank you to Rachel as well. Any of the producers that are sharing their money, and Rob Burns and his wife partner with Snake River. It's the same with them. They set up Snake River to help storytellers, you know, cover some of their bills, which is awesome. I mean, you know,
great name. I haven't been, but I love that name. I've seen it come
Snake
up
River.
before.
I'll put a word in for you.
Okay.
I know they're doing a mixture of personal narrative and tall tales and folk and fairy tales. So I'll give them a shout and let them know that you're out there. For sure.
Okay, thanks.
Yeah. Well, I think our hour is winding to an end. I hope everyone. I'm sorry that Will wasn't able to join us today. I was.
Wait, I want to play the piano before we go.
Oh, you've got a piano there? You know, so I was going to be my. Oh, hang on, maybe I can. Yeah, we go. So I can't play the piano, but what I can play is the kazoo. How did that sound?
That was beautiful. That was just as good.
Thank you very much. So what I did learn actually from my friend Marek is that I've always played the kazoo from the small end.
Yeah.
Because, you know, normally when you have an instrument, you always stick the little part in your mouth, right? And then I saw Marek in this amazing band that he plays with, kind of gonzo folk band, I think they describe themselves as, if I got that right. And you put the big end in your mouth and blow it that, which I guess makes sense because it forces more of the air up through the little paper. The diaphragm, I guess it's called.
You know, this whole hour has been worth it now. Thank you, Simon. Wow.
Everyone's lives are more richer for this.
Thank you, Rachel,
Yeah.
for that. That's very sweet.
What did she say?
In the comments. Sorry.
Oh, right. Yeah. Thanks, Tony, for being here. Thank you, Rachel, for being here. Thank you, Alan. It's wonderful that you are here. It's always nice to see you, have your presence. And also, somebody else, Pete Abdullah. He's further up at the top, I think. Thanks for joining us today, Pete. I really appreciate it. I do like seeing your name pop up. I hope that everybody does have a fabulous weekend. It looks like the weather here in New England is going to be stonkingly good. Unfortunately, I've got a lot on my plate to work with this weekend, including Story Podcast. I'm working on a new episode for that. So stay tuned, folks. Oh, next week. Is it? Hang on, let me just check because I can pull my calendar up.
I'll be back next week. Hi, Megan.
That would be nice. That would be nice, but I think we should probably plan it so that we actually have proper conversation.
Yeah,
so next week,
I'm learning about the American flag and social studies next week around this time. So
you are. So next week I have Heather Forrest joining me on Friday with friends, and then the week after I don't have anyone. When's so the 23rd. I'm excited about October the 23rd because I've got Lynette Ford and Adam Booth and Diane Macklin joining me. It's gonna be a foursome. Don't take that out of context. It's going to be a riot. Yes, I know, right? I'll be taking photographs. All right, folks, thanks so much for being here. I really appreciate it. Stay warm, stay healthy, stay away from those people that aren't wearing masks. Love you all. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.